Hello, dear friends. Here we are, Thought and Life. Your thought is your life. Yes, it is. And Emmanuel, through Chico Xavier, wrote this book, published in 1958. He wrote it in 1958, believe it or not. And this book came along as directives that are taught in the spiritual realm, in the schools of regeneration, and from the schools of regeneration, the single opportunity that people have to prepare themselves better for a new birth. And to imagine that we live a new life and we were prepared before this. Do you feel you were prepared for this life? Or you were just like, okay, go, 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 go. It's time to go. No time for talk. Go. Do what you need to do. What do you think? Do you feel you actually were prepared in the sense of you went to the schools of regeneration, whatever their names were, and you received the training and discussion, and then you reincarnated? Yes, Carol Correa is saying yes. Yes. It's very likely that you were, the spirit is very likely were prepared. That's a discussion for another day. But this is the book that could be at our nightstand day in, day out. Because it's revolutionary. And I say revolutionary in the sense of it redefines everything. It makes us feel that it's different. So, would like to invite you at this very moment for the reverence of this chapter. It's chapter 29, Death. What do you think death is all about? How do you feel about death? Is it fear, hesitation? What is it? This avoidance? How often do you talk about death? How often do you entertain the thought that sooner or later you're not gonna be in this body and you're not gonna be here? How often do you think of this? Is it important to think of this? These and other questions will be addressed in this very chapter. But before we read it, chapter 29, would like to say hi to our good friends here in this beautiful community, serious community, committed community, and most important, loving community. Because we feel loved by one another, we feel that we are supporting each other in our journey. Because life is not a walk in the park. As beautiful as it is, it's not a walk in the park. So we better be ready, as Emmanuel said, to never drop the ball, because we're here for this, to learn and to serve, and to learn and to serve through effort, repetition, right? Hello, Andrea, and Leia Severo, Melissa, Rihanna, Ju, Sarah, love the face and the flower, the sunflower, that's beautiful. And Rosa, hello Rosa, Tuani, beautiful flowers and kisses. And I know Luciana is there, right? Rosemary, João Bosco. This is almost the last day. Tomorrow we end the 30-day journey. And you may be asking, what's going to happen next? So, starting Friday, yes, don't be sad. We're going to be studying this book together by Emmanuel. Oh, yes. Through Chico Xavier. Money. Really? Some people are like, I've never heard of this, but here he is. Published last year by the United States Spiritist Federation. This book is not very well known in the Spiritist circles or in the world, and it just came about in English last year. But it's a book that helps us and goes hand in hand with these directives given by Emmanuel in the book Thought and Life. it tells us how to deal with one of the most important energies, one of them, that go through in our lives in an incarnation and we're still conflicted about: money. Some are addicted, others are traumatized, conflicted, and in between these extremes, we really need a lot of healing. A lot of healing. So this is the book. Where can you get it? At the website of the United States Spiritist Federation, www.spiritist.us. There is Jussara already helping all of us. You get the book right there, and I tell you, this book is phenomenal. This is the only thing phenomenal, as everything that was brought through Chico Xavier by Emmanuel. It's life-changing. Ready? Oh, Leia Severo, you already bought it? You're too fast. You are fast. You are fast. That's beautiful. Katia, hello. Thank you so much. Rihanna is saying, good morning, Vanessa and everyone. She's in South Africa. Thank you. We're so thankful this moment every day. Me, my husband, daughter, and granddaughter start our day so blessed. My granddaughter love it when you sing. She's 16 months. Oh, how precious is that, Rihanna? We'll sing along. Yeah, that's how I started singing for babies. No wonder, yes, your baby granddaughter enjoys it, because it's as pure as it is, right? When we sing for babies and children, we are welcoming them, as Jesus said, let them come, right? Hello, John the Rosa. Long time no see you, huh? We just saw each other at the Spirit Side of Virginia. Good seeing you here. Hello, Marco and Patricia. Hello, Patricia. Friends, today the chapter is about death. What is death for you? Think about this before we begin. Death is blank. Please fill in the blank. Death is... Now let us ask Emmanuel. Emmanuel, what is death? Right? He's gonna tell us. Are you ready? Ready, set, and go. As Mark and Carol say in Kardec Radio for Kids, chapter 29. Death. So here we have Marco saying death is rebirth, Rudy saying to wake up, Jussara is saying passage, Alex is saying a transition, Leia Severo is saying return to real life. Wow. And you guys, wow. Angelita, hello. See, it's very interesting. Thank you so much for sharing, because it enriches our learning experience. When we learn together, we go much farther away, right? Part of the process. Andrea is saying, for me it's natural, and if it will be in God's decision. Exactly. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Andrea, for participating. It's very interesting the way we put it into words. Let us not forget that we think, we feel in vibrations, we think in images. We feel in vibrations and we think in images. And we translate it into words, but we need to learn how to do it, because oftentimes we don't even know what we're feeling. We don't even know what we're thinking. We think we do, but we need self-knowledge. Self-knowledge is essential. Hello, Carolina. So Emmanuel says, let us be reverent, permeable. There is an ideal set of mind to absorb the message when we read a book. We need to breathe in and out, be very mindful, because we're connecting mind to mind with the mind of the author and capturing beyond words. There is an ideal mindset when we read a book. Otherwise, I tell you, I've seen people reading They don't read the message. Even the words, they change when they read. And you say, you read it wrong. And they're like, did I? No, I did not. Yes, you did. So we need to enter the mind of the author. Okay? Thank you to Annie and Luciana for sharing your beautiful feelings of this lovely experience. She's saying we're really glad to be here with all these beautiful soul friends. Thank you, my friend, and thank everyone, the classmates, for this lovely experience. Thank you to Annie. Thank you, Luciana. It's really precious. Death. Seeing that our mind is the mirror of life, we should have no difficulty in understanding that immediately after death, the images that will prevail are those more deeply etched on its surface. They were engraved there by our will through persistent and intensive mental reaction. Thought, that is a fluidic plasma, has the ability to materialize its own creations and give them temporary vitality and movement. Therefore, after our transition to the grave, we naturally become obsessed by the pictures that our imagination creates and are kept in a state of hallucinations. Most incarnated spirits experience this process during common sleep. Instead of retreating from the body during the hours of rest, they remain by it, receiving primitive thought reflexes and sensations which are in need of adjustment. All circles of life need the acquisition of good habits to comply with the educational process. All accomplishments of the spirit are made possible through repetitious lessons. These classes are vast sectors of specific work, there where, through constant effort and long duration, objectives are reached to suit any particular field of knowledge. Thus, when a student is preparing himself for a career, he takes the required classes. He also gains from the experience of previous masters in his chosen field. A candidate for a military career begins with handling the weaponry of war and attends classes where important masters of military strategy instruct him. The medical student must repeat it year after year, the lessons and experiences of specialists before taking the Hippocratic Oath. In all vocational schools, we see teachers shaping children, adolescents, and adults to the principles of certain branches of study, adjusting their personality to fit predetermined goals. This is possible due to the principle of systematic mental training, formed by continuity and progressive lessons. A university certificate printed on parchment merely testifies to the indispensable time spent studying a certain field of knowledge to be applied as service to society. Following the same principle, death gives us a certificate at the completion of each repeated experience to which we have adjusted ourselves, as every spirit more or less transforms himself into what he keeps in mind. This is how death distills our total mental content and compels us to live temporarily within these thought patterns. If the content is good, we have our portion of heaven that corresponds to the best we have built within ourselves. On the other hand, if it is bad, if our content is bad, we must of necessity be detained in our portion of hell that corresponds to the evil we created until rightful purification is completed. A hell that was of our own making, created in the intimacy of our conscience. Everything that deviates from the law of love and progress, that follows not principles of renewal and sublimation, causes blockages in the mind. This is nothing more than accumulated personal reflexes without any value for the common good. This only consolidates the fixed ideas we have in the afterlife, as if we were mentally unbalanced because we find ourselves very distant from our fundamental reality. This is why to die means to enter even deeper into the world within ourselves, often taking a long time to be able to discard our less fortunate reflexes that have been transformed into a hallucinatory state created by our ideas fixed in darkness. Or when we improve our reflexes by adjusting them towards goodness, we can simply move on from one sphere to another, gradually advancing to new horizons of ascension and light. Okay, this is one of the longest chapters actually. Thank you, Margaret, for your kindness. This is actually one of the longest chapters, and Emmanuel really brings to us a new sense of what death is. He says, remember when we say that our minds, we think in images? He repeats that here. Images. Immediately after death, these images will prevail, especially those who are deeply ingrained, etched on the surface of our minds. So he says they were engraved by our will through persistent and intensive mental reaction. Pause. Because now he's talking about the mechanisms. He begins defining it through the mechanism. He says death is nothing more than, in technological words nowadays, uploading everything. Yeah, the hard drive of our minds. Yeah, remember, it's not in the physical brain. There is a mental body. Andre Lewis talks about that, and it's not in the physical body. So remember, we're connected molecule by molecule. When death happens, whatever memory is in our physiological, the organic field, is going to be transferred once and for all to the hard drive of the mind, the mental body. And this transference, this upload, is going to make us feel things. Question for us. We need therapeutic questions, right? So these images we have created, they depend on our will, the persistence, the intensity of our thinking. How many years have you lived this life? Don't worry if it's like 50, 60, 70, 20, or 16 months, but the baby cannot reply to us here, so leave the baby aside, but let us talk about ourselves. If you could tell us about one main thinking process that you have been having throughout this life, could you identify it? Is it possible to identify? Yes. There are people, since a young age, you can tell what they're looking for. You can tell by observing what they're looking for. And if we don't have good education, it's gonna repeat mistakes of the past. So what is the main mental reactions? What are the ones that are persistent and intensive in the direction you're giving? Yeah. Some people, since they are young children, they want something specifically. And then they go through the whole life with that objective. I want to do this. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, but we need to evaluate. So he's saying, at death, these images are uploaded. And now what do? Hello, Rita Di Cassia. Hello, Joyce. Big kiss to you too. Hello, Erica. Good seeing you here. Big kiss to Danny. So, it's very interesting because he says thought. What is thought? A fluidic plasma. It is matter. Mental, electromagnetic force. Mental matter. We create thought images and those go by. So that's why often when we listen to music, it's as if we're closing our eyes and we're seeing pictures and pictures and we can feel the vibrations. So it's important for us to observe that thinking so vivid, so tangible. Hello, Yasin. Welcome, welcome. So thought has the ability to materialize its own creations. I create through thought. Give them temporary vitality and movement. Therefore, after our transition to the grave, we naturally become obsessed by the pictures that we have created and kept in state of hallucination. Throughout this chapter, he's talking about death, mental images. Death and mental images. Since our thoughts is about this fluidic images that we create, thought forms, as Kardec says in the Genesis, it's there. So imagine, some people say, oh, Vanessa, but you know, I pray and I pray and you pray how many times a day? 3, okay, that's. But I spend the rest of my day in between the prayers just thinking the negative. I know people who are like this. You tell them, look at this book, isn't it pretty? And they say, yes, but I will do this. What about this watch? What do you think? Don't you like it? So cute. Yes, but when they die, life is gonna tell them, yes, but. No, seriously. Mm-hmm. There is a story in the book Reincarnation in Life. It's not in English yet. Reencarnação e Vida, in Portuguese. In Spanish, Hechos que Prueban, by Amália Domingo Soler. The Amália Domingo Soler that we love. If you don't know who she is, go to thespiritismagazine.com and we have archived issues or the app of the Spiritist Magazine. You see there's one picture of her, I think it was a few years ago. We did a whole cover article about her life, Amália Domingo Soler. Yeah, the poetess of the violets. And it's very important for us to observe what we're thinking, because in that book, Amália Domingo Soler says there is a true case of a man that no matter what people told him, oh, well, let's go do this, he would always say, yes, tomorrow. To the point people started calling him like John Tomorrow. Yeah, Juan Mañana. Juan Mañana, Juan Mañana, Juan Mañana, John Tomorrow. Yeah, believe it or not, that's the story. And when he was you know, dead or dying. There was a situation in which people were so used to hearing him say, mañana, tomorrow, mañana, tomorrow, 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 that when he needed something, they said, you know, let's do it tomorrow. It was too late. I'm just cutting short on the story, okay, friends? But why we're doing this? Because if we create our whole lives that image, yeah, tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow, it's going to happen to us. And the other thing is about bullying. Because usually the bullies don't like to be bullied, right? We don't. Sorry, let me just put the charger here. So we don't like to be bullied, but then we're bullying. And what happens to the bully when he discarnates? What kinds of spirits are going to be waiting for them? Loving spirits? Oh, no doubt, loving spirits are everywhere. Love is everywhere. Literally, right? Tomorrow. Last chapter is about love. So we leave it, the songs for love, for tomorrow. But today we're talking about the consequences. Death is the mirror of what we've done with our lives. Yeah, it's a carbon copy of what we've done in our lives. So if you're not doing well, yeah, it's right. You're afraid. If I'm not doing right, yeah, I better adjust it. Because when you adjust, you just say, you know what, bring it on. If it has to happen. Humility, yes, with humility, saying, not afraid because I'm trying my best. But are we trying our best? That's why Joana de Angelis, through Divaldo Franco, in the book Happy Life, says we need to think of death at least once a day. The death of ourselves, the death of loved ones. For example, your physical body. My physical body. Okay? Whose is this body? Yours? Mine? So it's very important for us to pay attention to this, because how do you want to dispose of this body? You need to know. Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? Where? How? Do you want a funeral, a procession? Do you want a mausoleum? What do you want? You need to know. Is it important? No, it's vital. Why? Because the body is yours. And if you don't decide it and say to people, oh, you know what to do with. No. Don't take your responsibility and give it to somebody else. Yes, we're responsible, right? You're recycling trash in your home? You are? And what about this? You're just like, okay, whatever. When I die, people will know what to do. It's as if you're throwing trash in the streets and you say, whatever, somebody's going to pick it up. We need to know. And it's not morbid. Humberto de Campos, through Chico Xavier, wrote a message titled Preparation for Death. We have it published in one of the issues, and forgive me, in the Spiritist magazine, and also a program years ago at Kardec Radio. If you go to kardecradio.com or iTunes, you type in Preparation for Death, you're going to have the whole program and the conversation, the discussion behind it, with the whole message. So, what do we need to do to prepare ourselves for death? First and foremost, it's not about ritual, it's about the images we're creating. If we're constantly bickering with people, battling with people, struggling with people, concerned about how people are going to accept me, love me, etc., when I discarnate, I'm going to keep thinking and feeling those feelings. It's very sad. So we need to pay attention. So thought has the ability to materialize its creation, give them temporary vitality and movement. After a transition to the grave, we become obsessed by the pictures that we have imagined. So we need to go through and know what we're planting. Most incarnated spirits experience this process during common sleep. What common process? This process. This obsession by the pictures we have created. He's saying something that André Luiz explains. And they develop, André Luiz develops one whole chapter in the book by Kardec, the Spirit's book. Sleep and Dreams is the chapter. And there we're gonna learn that when we're sleeping, the body's at rest, but the spirit is freer, not disconnected, but freer to go places, talk to people. But he's saying, we do that every day. Be stuck in the pictures we have created through the day. So we need to be very wise. Instead of retreating from the body during common sleep, instead of retreating from the body, they remain by it, and then we remain, okay, by it. It's very interesting that we remain by it. Rihanna is saying, hello, Karina, Rihanna and Daniel Castellani, Carolina, thank you, Carolina. Okay, it's good that you're here. He's welcome too. Now, Rihanna is saying death is the mirror of our soul. Yes. Do you want a natural burial, Rudy? Okay, that's great. And oh, Leia Severo, you are so sharp. Thank you so much. Leia Severo is giving us here. The Spiritist magazine that contains the training for death is April-June 2013. Thank you, thank you. So important. They remain by it. Do we need a living will? Yes, we need the living will. Or you write a letter. You tell your family. Make sure. Why? Because it's your responsibility. Your body is yours, nobody else's. You tell them, everyone, when I discarnate, I would like you to do this, that, and the other. So you are not responsible for anything. You need to know what we want and what to do with our belongings. When I discarnate, don't do that. Okay, what are you gonna do with the books that you have? I don't know, you give it away. No. And then people are gonna be thinking how many people we have done the fraternal counseling, and they come and say, it's been 10 years that this person discarnated and I still feel guilty because I had to make decisions on this and that and the other. I'm not sure if that's what they liked. And then for 10 years, people are not living well because of us. And we'll tell them, don't worry. Be happy. We need some lightness here now. Don't worry. Be happy. It's a break, it's a commercial, okay? As Regina said, let's pretend it's a commercial. Don't worry, be happy. But really, we're gonna tell them, don't worry, because I've already made a decision here. I'll like this, that, and the other. And I'd like you to give this away, donate this, and that, and that. So we need to have our lives organized today, not tomorrow. You know those cases you discarnate all of a sudden and people come like, oh, they had like $1 million in their mattress. That's not too bad though, right? or it is. question for the next book. Money. Is it good or bad? But for us, what do we do? How do you want to dispose of your clothes, of your belongings? Don't wait. Don't think it's going to happen when you turn 100 years old, because it may not happen. Okay. Now, Emmanuel tells us more. He tells us of the importance of also observing the habits when we sleep. Because as Paul of Tarsus said, we die every day. Meaning, we go to sleep and we rehearse this detachment. That's why many people have insomnias. Because they are resisting the true contact with their conscience. Because every night when you sleep, no matter how far you go, or if you stay there connected, receiving the reflexes and the physiological responses of the mental creations of the day, we are uploading the immediate files of the experiences that day. And sometimes that process clogs. And I would say, freezes like a computer. You're doing the upload, the file's too big, freezes, crashes the computer. It's not gonna crash. Sometimes it does crash and people have strokes, etc. But sometimes it's not gonna literally crash, but it's gonna make people feel okay. So it's gonna make feel that for some reason, it's gonna feel that something is off, and then they wake up and they say, oh, I have insomnia, I don't want to sleep. And usually people who talk bad about people, they have insomnia. It's not only the issue, but studies have shown, like people who have this habit of gossiping, they usually have insomnia. It's not all of the cases, because when you're in a battle with other people. Yesterday we talked about obsession, illness, and the other day obsession. We need to understand that when we are in this power struggle with people in our lives, we may refuse to be in the spiritual realm because people are going to come and they want to fight, etc. And then we have insomnia. Think about this. So all circles of life need the acquisition of good habits to comply with the educational process. All accomplishments of the spirit are made possible through repetitious lessons. Okay? So if something comes back again and again and again, don't think like, why am I doing this again? I think I knew it. Think from the teacher's perspective, reinforcing the good is always important. And Yazini is saying we shouldn't be afraid of death, and Daniel Castellani is mentioning that it's best to donate everything that is usable. We don't take it to the other side. You're right. We better know it, right, Daniel? Yeah, you're right. So he says here, he gives us analogies of the student that is preparing for a certain thing and who comes to take care of them, the lessons, etc. And then he says, by the same principle, death gives us a certificate at the completion of each repeated experience. Do you love death now a little more? It's beautiful. It's graduation moment. Yes, we graduate. The thing is, are we graduating with honors or we're barely graduating? Does that actually exist? Graduating in one thing but not the other? How do you think you're doing? Therapeutic moment. Yay! We love it. We love it. Therapeutic moment is the way in which we feel the scripture. And as Emmanuel is saying this, let us think for ourselves. If my death were to occur today, would I be able to graduate? Or would I come back to repeat the whole course? 2, what are the elements that I actually need to adjust to graduate through death with honors? Practicing the excellence of our divine seed, God's seed inside of us. So he says here, death gives us a certificate of completion. And we need to adjust, transforming ourselves. This is how death distills our total mental content and compels us to live temporarily within these thought patterns. So it's like you sow, you're gonna reap. Some people think it's all about going back and that's it. But it's not. When you travel, for example, you travel. When you come back, don't you need time to actually process the transition, to tell everybody how the things went on, and to readjust yourself to your life? That's death. There is a moment of readaptation. But that's our real life. It's our real life. So death is a beautiful, transformative moment for us. A passage. But you know, as we play with Virginia, it's small, medium, or large. Yeah, the shapes. How is this passage? Is it something brief or something that takes long? Because I'm still struggling with the finish. He says, if the contents of our life were good, we're going to experience this feeling of heaven. But if they were bad, we're going to experience the feelings of hell. Everything that deviates from the law of love and progress, that does not follow the principles of renewal and sublimation, causes blockages in the mind. Exactly. So, Andre Lewis, let me draw for you, because in the drawing, we have an opportunity to visualize, okay? This course is actually, the Thought in Life is coming through in slides. And as soon as we have it done, we'll be able to let you know. But this is how it is, okay? The transition of our lives. So here we have the thought of the Creator and our thought. And if we try, this is God's thought and I, okay? And then if I try to get out of it, not complying with the loving boundaries, that's what Andre Lewis says in the book Evolution into Worlds and Mechanisms of Mediumship. Our thoughts are in God's thoughts. And then if I try to go beyond it, I won't be able to. I'm going to suffer because there is a force that pushes us back to stay here. So if the whole life we're doing this, trying, attempting, bumping. Are you a bumper? Trying to bump on God's boundaries. Always like, oh, what's going to happen? We're going to receive the consequences. Yeah? And the consequences are what Kardec called in the book Genesis, in its first part, spiritual disturbance. It's that readaptation in the spiritual realm according to what we've done in this present life. This is why to die means to enter even deeper into the world within ourselves. For people who are afraid to talk about themselves and their lives, we tell them, I'm so sorry. I'm really sorry. Because the less we want to talk about us, to know about us, the more troubled we'll be when we discarnate. Go back home. Because this life is temporary. It's like going to school. We will go back home. And what we think like 100 years being too long, it's nothing compared to the infinite. This is why to die means to enter even deeper into ourselves, often taking a long time to be able to discard our less fortunate reflexes that have been transformed into hallucinations created by our ideas fixed in darkness, or improve our reflexes, adjusting to goodness, and move from one sphere to another, advancing to new horizons of ascension and light. This lesson reminds us mostly of how death is this beautiful passage, this transition, right? This, as our friend said here before, so beautifully, this return to the real life, this wake up, by being part of the process, all of it, we then will have a reality check. What have I done with everything I was given? And then we ask ourselves, what are we doing today? The past is gone. What now? We only look at the past as a reference, but not with our full attention. Because the attention is in front of us. Not even the future, but right here now. I know we're not singing today, but this lesson is beyond singing. Why? Because death is really the other side of the coin of life. If you talk about life, the other side says death. They're part of the same process that sustains the universe. Death is reality check. That's why many people don't want to talk about it. But do you? It's a certificate of graduation or not. So it's reality check. What am I doing with my life? What are you doing with your life? We need to know, we need to answer to these questions. And as Emmanuel says, when we prepare ourselves for the new birth, we are already preparing ourselves for death. Some parents, let me give you an example. They avoid talking about death with their children because they think, no, I'm not going to talk about it. Well, why not? Death is part of life. I don't want to scare them. Scare? You want them to learn about it if you discarnate before them and they're little and you never explain to them? Yeah, we need to tell them, look, if you don't pay attention when you're doing this, a car can come by, and boom, dead. And like, yeah, death, done, here. But we need to talk to ourselves too. Sometimes we're too conditioned to the mysteries of life and not opening the Pandora box of life. But death is there. And is it bad? No. It's a beautiful lady who is waiting for you with a beautiful diploma. It's smiling at you and saying, here is your certificate. Well, you need to open and see, what certificate is this? Have you passed? Have you failed? Have I passed? Have I failed? But this beautiful lady who comes and gives us the certificate of completion, death, is, and I'm saying this symbolically, is inviting us to think what we're doing with our lives. Melissa is saying, strangely, I'm more concerned about how people reincarnate than about leaving this world. Most people think I'm backwards. No, but you're right, Melissa. The more we study this, the more we're going to be concerned. Not concerned, I would say, but I would say we would focus on empowering the people who reincarnate. Yeah, I remember when I was pregnant and I talked to Virginia, Mentor Joseph said, Vanessa, reincarnating is so dangerous in our world. Because of free will in a world that is still not very much evolved, it's very risky, because you may come to give one step forward, then you may stagnate for longer. We don't regress, but instead of stagnating for a minute, we may stagnate for a century because of decisions we make in life. You don't want to stagnate. I don't want to stagnate, do you? No, because I am a child of God. You are a child of God. We've reincarnated to learn to do good. Reincarnation, the path of progress. Reincarnation, the opportunity. Reincarnation, the way to become good, to achieve true happiness, which is love, right? Love is the ultimate thing. So we should be concerned, focused, knowing that, as the spirits say, it's a very challenging opportunity to grow, but we need to make this happen and succeed, right? And to wrap up, because death is love. Death is love. It's also the way God says, look, you've studied, you're done, come home. Come home. Of course, depends on the death. But today, for example, we'd like to wrap up. If you don't know of this man, I'm going to give you a few elements. Today, we've got to know in the Spiritist movement, Dr. George Andrea, who was one of the few scholars who was able to put together the teachings of psychology and psychiatry, bridging up with Spiritism, inspired by Joana de Angelis and others. He was a physician and a phenomenal Spiritist. He discarnated today, February 1st, 100 years old. And we talk about death, celebrating his life. I have that's our feeling, but talking to many people, that he is graduating with super honors. He wasn't perfect, but it's not about perfection. It's about the images, the contents of the mind that he has created. And by the production of his books, the dedication to others, 100 years with beautiful resolutions, beautiful achievements to helping others in the medical field and in the spiritist movement. And today we thank him for the opportunity of having books like Sexual Forces of the Soul, which is the theme of our workshop in DC, in Washington, DC, in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, February 12th of this year. And we're going to transmit through Facebook Live. It's going to be a talk given by a friend, Adriano Barbo, from New York. He has been reading his books, George Andrea's books, for a long time. And today he discarnated in the most beautiful way. And I say this not judging, because I don't know, but it's about feeling. When I heard of his death, I talked to Mentor Joseph. Mentor Joseph said, Vanessa, rest assured, Dr. George Andrea graduated with honors. There is a party, celebration in the spiritual realm, a life well lived for the service of others. Do you want that death too? Do you want go home and be welcomed? Yes, we all do, right? So we better do what? What? Love and approve of myself and create beautiful images. Love and approve of myself. After all you need is God. Dun, 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 dun. All you need is God. God. God is all we need. Right? Enjoy this day. The homework. You are asking about homework? Oh yeah, teachers love homework. And the homework is think about death. Your death and the death of loved ones. Just think about it. This day, February 2nd, in 3 minutes, we're going to shift it. Karina and others are already on February 2nd, 2017. That's the day to think about death. Death. And say, thank you, God, for this life. If it ends now, we thank you. And we accept it, and we hope our loved ones understand that everything is okay. Nothing is by chance. And that those who have already departed, they are in another condition. We need to pay attention to what we're doing now. Okay? Talking about death, it's Karina's birthday. Oh, okay. Happy birthday to you, Karina. Let's sing to her friends. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Karina. Happy birthday to you. And I'm gonna sing the welcoming of the spiritists. Welcome, welcome, dear soul. Now you're here, let us grow. Let us love, let us serve. Let us help everyone. Welcome, welcome, dear soul. And I'm here to love you so, Karina. And our whole community showers Karina with lots of love, right? Can you feel it? Me too, me 3, me 4. So now it's time to wrap up and wait for tomorrow. Because we're going to talk about love. And love is in the air. And love as the ultimate directive for the new birth. Inside and out. Beautiful kiss. Thank you, friends. And until later.